Wrong. Welcome to the Powered by Iron Health podcast. My name is Matt Marano. I am the marketing manager for Iron Health, and we are switching it up a little bit. We're bringing the podcast back in-house, highlighting the faces and personalities here at Iron Health. And we have Miss Alessia with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we're just going to get to know you.
Of course.
I guess along the way, kind of get to know myself as well, because they haven't seen me on camera since I did a podcast with our old trainer and Joe.
Oh,
way
wow.
back when. So, yeah.
The new personality.
New personality. Just entirely new.
Good.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
And this isn't like a weird, like, how you doing thing, and we've been sitting in the same office together the entire day. Like, I was in Ardsley, and I came over to Briarcliff for this. So,
I saw you yesterday, but not today yet.
That's true. So, tell us a little bit about you. Like, what do you have going on?
Yeah. Do you want my personal background?
Well, let's start with what you do at Iron Health, and then
Sure.
we'll go into all that.
Yeah, so I work at Iron Health. I am a billing representative. So I handle a lot of the back end in-office billing. So I'm the person that talks to our patients and our clients, and I kind of take a lot of the initial convo and then take it to higher management if it needs to. I do a lot of the admin work for the billing side, so I don't do the actual billing, but I do a lot of the back end and making sure everything goes smoothly, and then the off billing, so anything that's not through insurances and stuff like that is kind of what I handle. I do some admin work as well, and I just like to help out as needed, so
So you build shelves occasionally too.
I did make a bookshelf the other day, so
how'd that go? Did you use the instructions?
Handy woman. So Ryan started making it, and then he thought he would get it done in the 20 minutes that he had before the huddle last week. And he got 1/3 of the way, and then he had patience the rest of the day. So I saw what he did, and I kind of just did whatever he did to finish it.
Cool.
So,
yeah. For those that don't know, in every one of our clinics, we do a huddle, which is kind of a weekly team meeting. Mm-hmm. So that's what Alessia was referring to there. The Briarcliff huddle is especially fun. Yeah. As you know. There's what's your highlight of the Briarcliff huddle? Usually?
I'd say it would be in between. We typically do dad jokes. We have dad joke books, so I love a dad joke. And sometimes we'll watch funny videos, like the national anthem. If you heard the Fergie one, you know. But just stuff to make us laugh and loosen up a little bit, and then we talk about our goals and stuff. So.
Cool. I like when someone, there's a little putt-putt golf thing. I like when they make it and then we all get free coffee.
Yes, me too.
That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part of the huddle.
It's hard though. It's not easy.
I suck at it.
Me too.
Royally.
Me too.
Okay, so let's go into your background. Where do you come from? What'd you do growing up? Stuff like that. How'd you get to where you are now?
So I grew up in Putnam County. I am a first-generation American to 2 Italian immigrants. First person in my family to go to college. So I grew up, my family moved out of the Bronx when they found out they were having a girl, and they were like, we need to get out of here. So we lived on Arthur Ave. Not me. They. And then we moved up to Putnam County when my mom was pregnant with me. I grew up dancing. My mom said she tried to put me into preschool, and I cried the whole time. So they were really worried that I wasn't going to have any friends. So my mom put me in dance, and she said it was the first activity that I didn't turn around and look for my mother. I kind of just held my dance teacher's hand and was like, bye, Mom. So I kind of was the minute I stepped in, I was going to do it forever. So I've been dancing my whole life, competitively, professionally. I've trained in Putnam. I've also trained in New York City through Alvin Ailey. I worked with Complexions Dance Company. I've also worked with French American Ballet, Steps on Broadway, a bunch of different studios out there just to broaden my education. So most people my age don't have a classical background, but that's actually something I pride myself in because I love the classics. So I am a classically trained ballerina, but I do also love the modern and contemporary and hip hop end of dance because that's kind of fun for me, other than the classics.
Right. So your background is in ballet.
Yes,
and then,
mainly.
But you do have the education in the modern styles, hip hop.
Yeah. So I competed in dance from 5 to 18. And as a competitive dancer, you kind of have to be like more commercial, so like well-rounded. So that was something I grew up, my teachers instilled in me. So we had to learn everything, whether you liked it or not. So like my least favorite was tap, just because I wasn't like the best at it, but it made me like learn and do it. And now it's actually one of my favorites to do for fun now, because I didn't appreciate it when I was learning it because I was so frustrated, but now it's so much fun for me to like take a tap class because I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I have this skill.
Do you think that's because you're not competing anymore, that you're able to enjoy it a little bit more? Like, was the competition part of it making you feel a little bit more pressure to be good at it, and that's why you couldn't enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a perfectionist, so like I have a competitive edge to me. So growing up competing, I definitely was always in the zone and was very like strict, especially coming from a strict household. So now that like I can take classes and genuinely just enjoy and dance as more of a hobby, like as an adult, I definitely enjoy all the genres a lot more because I don't feel the pressure to be perfect, because I think a big thing in dance when you're older is to make it your own. Like, it's an art. It's not just a sport, although it is hard and very like physically daunting. It is an art, so you can like make it as you want. And I think that's why I like it as much as I do, because it's like the best of both worlds.
So I'm an artist as well, and I have this philosophy where like you can't perfect art.
Correct.
But it feels like in dance, you can really perfect a routine or something for a competition. So there is a difference there, and I think that becomes more the athletic sports side of it, because it is very physically demanding as well.
Yeah.
And now you own your own studio?
I do. I own Miss Alessia's Dance Artistry in Mount Kisco. We've been open officially a year now, and we have a kids program. So I start them at 18 months, nice and tiny, to do like a lot of music dance based like orientation for the kids. So like we use instruments and props, because kids at that age really are just like getting welcomed into using things and hearing things and stuff like that. So we do a lot of music based dance, stomping, skipping. It's funny because like I bet people don't remember how they learned how to jump and skip, but it's something I teach kids every day, which is so funny because you don't think about it as an adult. And then I do also teach adult classes. So we have like a program for kids, and then we have drop-in workshops for adults that are supposed to be for like, I like to say retired dancers, because especially in Westchester, there's a lot of girls that danced growing up, whether they were competitive, whether they danced and then went into sports. Like, you can ask most young girls, all of them have danced before probably, especially when all those like fame was out there. Like, it made it such a popular thing, just how like the Olympics makes gymnastics super popular. Very similar. So when the second Fame came out, like the reboot, again, there was another like influx, and that was kind of when I was young. So like a lot of people have danced before, and I think a lot of people enjoyed it, and it's kind of a workout you don't realize you're doing, because it doesn't feel like a workout until after, when you're really sore.
I feel like every girl that I knew growing up, like if they weren't in a sport, it was like cheerleading, dance, Girl Scouts. Like those were the different avenues. But from that, it seemed like dance was the one that took most of them furthest. And I think it's really cool that now you've taken that and like you've gone through the whole competitive phase of your life and dance career, and now you have your own studio. One of my little sisters is a dancer, or was a dancer growing up, and I know she competed like throughout, and now she coaches there. Is having like your own dance team something that is like coming up for your studio, or currently?
So that's definitely a goal.
Okay.
Being that we're in season 2, my goal, I kind of cater to young ones right now. I definitely enjoy getting kids very young and watching them grow, although I'm obviously open to having any age kid, but just seeing like some of my kids re-enroll just from the summer. Like, I saw them in June, and I had like an open house, and seeing kids re-enroll, they come back, and I'm like, oh my God, how did you grow 6 inches? Because they're like at that prime age where they're growing in a week. I want to see them grow throughout their years. My dance teacher is still someone that I like value in my life dearly, and I talk to her weekly, if not on a daily basis. So like, I strive to be that in my students' lives, because dance wasn't just a sport and like art for me. It was really the discipline that I think provided me to be a professional as an adult. Because they don't teach you that in college. They don't teach you how to be professional. They don't teach you how to be on time. That's something that you learn through sports and teams. And I think that's why teams are important. Like, not everybody's goal is to be a professional. Some people are just doing it for the trophy, and hey, why not?
Trophies look good on shelves.
Exactly. But, you know, it's the discipline, honestly, that I think is why they're so important in kids' lives.
When you're dealing with kids that young, can you already kind of tell, like, okay, this person's going to stick with it for a while, and this person gets it? Like, they just have that factor to them? And can you tell, like, all right, they'll be here for maybe a year or two, but, you know, they might kind of fall off.
Yeah, so you can definitely tell. I mean, kids are definitely unfiltered, so they say what they mean all the time. Blessing and a curse. But you can definitely tell if a kid wants something by the way they practice at home or the way they'll ask questions. I never say that I'm going to think a kid is going to not stick it out, because you hope they do. Yeah. Some people leave and come back. They try new things. My goal with my studio is to be able to be flexible enough, because growing up, I wanted to try new things, and I did try new things, but nothing that I could stick with long term because of the commitment to dance. So my goal is to be able to kind of allow both the best way possible, because I did have a lot of fun. Like, I did cheerleading for a short amount of time, and I did volleyball and field hockey, and they were fun for me. So, like, that was more of, like, the joy where, because I was competitive, I was having fun, but I was serious about it. Okay. Because I saw, like, I wanted to be professional. So it's like a fine line.
But you had those expectations for yourself.
I did.
Yeah.
I did very young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but you didn't necessarily go to school for dance, right?
So that's a funny story. So, you know, my whole life I was told by a lot of people that, like, you don't need to go to college for dance. And I kind of was just like, yeah, but I want to. So I did end up going originally to school. I did a semester at University of the Arts in Philadelphia. I picked that school because they gave me the biggest scholarship. And I
Fair reason.
Yeah.
College is expensive. That's a great reason.
Of course. Especially being the first kid, I had no idea, you know, how to do it. Like, me and my mom opened the financial aid package, and we're both like, huh? Like, how do we, what? What do you mean taxes? What do you mean? Like,
what does any of this mean?
Yeah. So I went there, and then I was injured in high school, and when I did go to college for dance, it kind of made me realize that if I don't make it professionally, if I kept going at the rate I was going, that I might not have a professional career due to injury and stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure that I educated myself to be able to have a successful future. So I ended up transferring to UAlbany in the business school. So I have a communications and marketing degree. So at my studio, I actually do everything myself. I do my own marketing, I do my own admin, my own payroll, and all that kind of stuff. But I did work corporate before I opened my studio.
You've got the background for it.
Correct.
So you kind of knew what to expect going into it.
Yeah. I mean, I have been teaching since I was a child myself. I was an assistant, and then my dance teacher took a chance on me to give me my own team. And the first time they made it to nationals, I received a choreography award, and that's kind of when I knew that I'm good at this. Like, be confident, you can do this. And I kind of took that time between being 17 and into my early 20s, like, I needed to gain all the knowledge I could to be successful on my own. So I was an assistant director at a smaller studio, and was mentored by many people that could help me really learn what I didn't see as a child in a dance studio, like, you know, the logistics behind rent, utilities, tuition, you know, how much marketing ads are and stuff like that. And that's stuff like nobody tells you about. So I kind of lived it before I did it. So that's kind of what gave me the push to open.
But it's good that you have that background. Because now I work in marketing, and I don't have that marketing education. Like, I have a full-blown art degree. So, like, it's very interesting just to see that you have the marketing degree, but you're going back into the arts.
Mm-hmm. And you have the arts
I'm
degree.
just reverse. Yeah, it makes no sense. What are your goals for your studio? Like, what are you most excited to see happen in the future?
Oh, okay. So I'm excited. Right now I do have a staff, but it's on the smaller end. I teach most of the classes myself, and if there is another teacher in the room, I'm popping in and out. Some would say it's a little controlling, but I just want to make sure that, this studio is my baby, and I want to make sure it's successful, and my goal is to be one of those studios that is not into the drama, because there can be a lot of drama when it comes to a lot of extracurriculars. So my goal is to be a safe space for everybody and to not have any negativity.
Yeah, but that's why movies like Fame exist.
I know. But, there's dramas within the kids. That's
Yeah.
do you. But, there's always going to be like tips and stuff like that. But I never want any negativity in the space. I want kids to feel like they can come to the studio, no questions asked, and just dance. And, that's something I had growing up, and that's what I want for
You want them to
more
be their
kids.
safe space where their problems don't exist. Like, that's where they go and they have a good time.
Yeah, I'm sure, some people go to the gym to let out their emotions. Like, for me, it was dance. And some would say it's a little easier to just dance it out because you're not lifting weights. But, that's my release. And I want other people to learn that for themselves, if that's something that...
Giving back what you had.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So you talked about how you had, your competitive side, and now you're going into the teaching.
Yeah.
What was like the turning point? You said there was an injury. What was that? What was the...
Yeah.
Give us that story.
So I definitely had like the normal injuries that most dancers would have, like sprained ankles and, I broke a toe once, and not dancing. I tripped on the ballet bar and broke my toe. I've tripped on like a prop, and like I've never actually been injured during a dance. It's really inside the studio because people joke that dancers have 2 left feet when they walk, and it's true. But my biggest injury was I tore my meniscus in my knee, and when I was 15, and that was kind of like the prime age as a dancer where you really like elevate into a matured adult. I didn't require surgery, thank God, but it did take me 2 months out completely and then 3 months into rehab, like PT. And, I actually did think about going into PT myself, because when I went to PT as a child, I had a male PT that didn't understand how, like, he would give me exercises and I would be like, no, like, this doesn't bother me. And he'd be like, well, it should. And I'm like, well, I do 18 plies in 30 seconds. Like, my knees are like, I need more than this. So like, I actually thought about going to school and being a PT specifically for dancers. And I remember I took athletic training and I tried to get certified. And that's why I know a lot about like wrapping my own body, wrapping, taping, ice versus fracture, like, those little things that like someone who runs onto like a football field would know. Not certified anymore, but I do know a lot of those things. And I did think about going into PT. A big reason why I didn't is because I actually was able to go back to dance. Okay. My injury was not long-winded enough to ruin my career. Long-term, I did have more injuries, but that's kind of when I realized when I was in college and my knee started hurting again that this would not stop and teaching would be my route.
Right.
So that's kind of how I shifted into really focusing on my business education. And yeah, but I like working at Iron Health because I still kind of get that like PT atmosphere where like I understand sometimes what the PTs are saying, even though I'm just like part of the billing admin side and I don't technically have anything to do with the medical part. It's cool because like I can ask them questions like, oh, I have a student that she broke her foot and now she's walking funny and the mom asked me some exercises. I suggested this. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, that's perfect. Like, if they keep doing that, like, refer them out and see if they need to come in. Because, our PTs are great with kids, too, especially JT.
What I like about Iron Health is that every department is still kind of linear. Like you just gave that as an example, but even there have been times where we're stuck on something marketing we ask you.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of just this whole team effort here.
We're a big circle.
Exactly. Everyone helps with every department.
Yeah.
No matter what their label
I
is.
even ask you guys about my own flyers for dance because I don't have anyone else
tear
to
them
look
apart.
at. I wish.
No, they're great.
No, but I'll be like, does this look okay? Because sometimes you need a new set of eyes. So it's good.
Yeah. So that brought you to Iron Health, or made you interested in working at Iron Health. That kind of like your past PT experience. Yeah. What do you like most about working here?
I would say the atmosphere, because like I've worked corporate where I've had to wear a pantsuit and high heels and can't show my shoulders and my toes. Like I've done that corporate America thing, and it's great for some people. But I like to think that some people that are more artistic hate it because we like to be individual.
So much so.
Yeah. So I did it for 5 years, and it's crazy to think about because I could never imagine being like that now. But I loved I want to say chill, but still professional atmosphere because I came in for my first interview in slacks and ballet flats.
I came in a full suit.
Yeah. So,
Rich was like, who is this guy?
And then, the person that greeted me was in an Iron Health t-shirt, and they still looked great, but I was like, oh wow, like I've only ever been to a PT office where the PTs wore white coats. So like, I was like, this is like a whole new world. And it was kind of the atmosphere more into, as much as we do cater to older patients, it was, catered to sports medicine, which I don't see a lot of because kids get injured all the time. Honestly, I want to say more than adults because they're the ones flinging their bodies around, doing sports. Like
they're the ones learning by example.
Right. Like my brothers did football and wrestling, like the amount of times we were in the ER because someone hit heads or someone tripped and so
many times.
So many times. And I feel Iron Health is safer for like a safe atmosphere for everybody. And that's kind of what drew me in because like some clinical settings are so old school clinical that some people aren't comfortable with that. And, it's hard enough to talk about an injury and about your pain. And, the more comfortable you feel, the easier it is to express what you need. And it's easier for your doctor to tell you, how to help you if you're able to express yourselves because they don't know. They're not inside your injury, Yeah,
absolutely. And especially the doctors here working one-on-one, they build that rapport.
Right.
So they really do get to know the patient better than any other place. Like, I mean, what is it? One of our patients,
yesterday.
High school athlete, yesterday was her last session.
I know.
And everyone was emotional about it.
Yeah.
Erin's behind the camera saying she's about to cry because of it.
Yeah.
So.
And like, that's the same feeling. Like, you get to know people and you get to know kids. That's kind of like the same thing. Like when I have my recitals and I don't see my kids for the summer, I'm like, oh my God, because like,
but also
you see them
you
grow.
worried, like, are they going to come back? Are they going to be there in the fall?
That too. I'm like, I really hope they like the show. That's just like a me thing, but.
But that was a big step for you, right? You having your first recital within your first year of being open, right? That was a huge step.
It was a lot. I mean, so we built our own space. My dad built it from the ground up. We actually demoed and left everything to concrete, and we remade the walls. We lifted the HVAC system to have open ceilings. Thank God for my dad, or I would not have done any of this. We ended up opening late. So most studios open the first week of school, the second week, early, mid-September. We didn't actually open until right before Halloween. So the fact that I had as many students as I did was like amazing to me because I thought my whole year was going to be like short-term learning, but that's not the best for kids because they need consistency. So I actually got a big enough group where I held a small show at a public library. And it actually was a lot of fun. And, my studio now, even after the show, a lot of parents came up to me and they were like, oh my God, and they're congratulating me on the show. And I'm like, but your kid's the one dancing. But they're like,
but you're the one that put in all that work.
Right.
Like you did. Okay, so you've opened the studio, you teach most of the classes, you do the marketing, all the admin work, all that. But then you also have event coordination.
Yeah, I do
and
that.
Planning and everything in there. So you have done every aspect a business owner may have to do.
Yeah, I think it's cool though.
Yeah.
I enjoy those things. I don't know.
No, I mean, like, you're kicking ass is what I'm getting at here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, looking to the future, again, I don't think we got around to this. What are your personal goals or professional goals? And then we can wrap this up.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say my professional goal is I'm currently in a smaller space than I wanted originally. And as much as I would hate to build again, my 10-year goal is to buy my own commercial space.
Nice.
I would love a warehouse to build a complete studio from the ground up and be big enough to accomplish that. So that's like my professional goal as a studio owner. Personally, I really want a BMW. I've always my dad has always had really cool cars, and my dad is an entrepreneur. He owns his own business, and I watched him provide everything to us. So I want to have that nice car that I saw him drive, and I would also love to buy my parents a lake house. That's like, they've always talked about it, and a lot of what we thought we were going to do with the lake house, especially after COVID, wasn't really a reachable goal for them anymore, especially with me opening the studio and them devoting all their time to me. So that's like a personal goal I would love to, and then obviously I would use it. But
yeah, I mean, clearly, if there's a lake house, you will use it. Yeah.
Yeah. So my personal, I would love my own car, but I would also love to provide something big enough for my parents to pay them back for, they suffered, especially coming to the United States. They started from nothing and they gave me everything. I never felt like I was missing out on anything. Like, it sounds so silly, but I had the Uggs, I had an iPhone, I had a BlackBerry when those were cool. So those are things now as an adult I appreciate. So I want to be able to give back to them because they gave up everything to give to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts or remarks before I hit them with the outro? Where can they find your dance studio?
Oh, yes.
Give us website, phone number, socials.
Yeah.
Give it all.
So Miss Alessia's Dance Artistry in Mount Kisco. We're located at 145 Kisco Ave in Mount Kisco, New York. Our phone number is 914-642-6809. Our website is missalessiasdanceartistry.com. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Everything's updated daily. And we're coming out with a YouTube channel soon to kind of just welcome our dancers and get some progression videos of them and our recitals. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been the new Powered by Iron Health podcast. I hope you enjoy the new format. If you did, let us know. If you don't, also let us know so we can fix it. I'm Matt. This has been Alessia. Make sure you check out her dance studio if you have a kid that needs to get into dancing, or you're an adult and want to drop by. Talk to you guys next time.
Thanks for having me.